Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of 9th of May 2024. Essence. Sweet children, the most severe illness is to be trapped in someone's name and form. Become introverted. Check this illness and become free from it. Question. What is the way to finish the illness of name and form? What loss is incurred by this illness? Answer. In order to finish the illness of name and form, have true love for the one Father. If your intellect wanders towards bodily beings at the time of remembrance, tell the Father about it honestly. By your telling the Father about it, He will forgive you. Do not hide your illness from the surgeon. When you tell Baba about it, you will be cautioned. If your intellect is dangling around anyone's name and form, it cannot be connected to the Father. Instead of doing service, such souls do disservice. They have the Father defamed, and those who have the Father defamed in that way receive severe punishment. Om Shanti. You children now know that each one of you is to receive the inheritance from the Father. A brother cannot receive an inheritance from a brother. Whether it is a brother or a sister, no one knows of anyone's stays. Bap Dada receives all the news. This is practical. Each one of you has to see to what extent you remember the Father and to what extent you are trapped in someone's name or form. Where is the attitude of myself, this soul being pulled to? Each soul knows that he has to consider himself to be a soul. Is my attitude directed towards Shiv Baba alone or towards anyone else's name and form? As much as possible, consider yourselves to be souls and remember the one Father and continue to forget everyone else. Ask your heart, does my heart go anywhere other than to the Father? Is my intellect diverted to business or household matters, etc., or to friends and relatives, etc.? You have to become introverted and check this in yourselves. When you come and sit here, you have to check yourselves. Here, someone or other sits in yoga in front of you. That one must also be remembering Shiv Baba. It isn't that the one would be remembering his or her children. You have to remember Shiv Baba alone. You are sitting here in remembrance of Shiv Baba. Then whether someone is sitting with his or her eyes open or closed, this is something to be understood with the intellect. You have to ask your heart, what is Baba explaining to me? We just have to remember the one. The one who is sitting here would also be in remembrance of Shiv Baba. That one would not be seeing you because he or she would not be aware of anyone's stays. The Father receives news of each one. He knows who the good children are, whose lines are clear. Their intellect's yoga does not go anywhere else. There are such ones too. The intellects of some people do get pulled, and when they hear a Murli, they even change themselves. They feel that that was their mistake and that their vision or attitude truly was wrong and that it now has to be made right. You have to let go of any wrong attitude. The Father explains this. A brother cannot tell this to another brother. Only the Father sees what each one's vision and attitude are like. Each of you relates the condition of your heart to the Father. When you share something with Shiv Baba, Dada also understands. He understands by listening to what each one says and by seeing them. Until he hears anything, how could he know what that one is doing? From their activity and their service, he can understand This one has a lot of body consciousness and this one has less. This one's activity is not right. He remains trapped in someone's name and form. Baba asks, do your intellects get pulled to anyone? Some tell Baba honestly, whereas others are trapped in the names and forms of others to such an extent that they don't even tell Baba about it. They are only incurring a loss for themselves. By telling the Father they can be forgiven and they can also remain cautious in the future. There are many who don't tell Baba honestly about their attitude because they are ashamed. For instance, when someone does something wrong, he doesn't tell his surgeon about it, but hides it, and that illness then grows even more. It is the same here. By telling the Father about it, you become light. Otherwise, when that stays inside you, you remain happy. By telling the Father about it, you will not do the same again. You will remain cautious with yourself in the future, but if you don't tell Baba about it, it would continue to grow. The Father knows how so and so is very serviceable and what his qualifications are and how he does service or whether he is attached to anyone. Baba looks at the horoscope of each one and then he has so much love for that one that he pulls him. Some of you do very good service. Your intellect's yoga is never pulled anywhere. Yes, previously it used to be pulled, but you are now cautious. You tell Baba, Baba, I am now cautious. Previously I used to make many mistakes. You understand that by becoming body conscious, you only make mistakes. In that case, your status will be destroyed. Although no one would be aware of it, your status will be destroyed. There has to be a lot of honesty and cleanliness in your hearts, for only then will you claim a high status. You have a lot of cleanliness in your intellects. Just as there is cleanliness in the souls of Lakshmi and Narayan, that was how they claimed a high status. For some, it is understood that their attitude is pulled towards someone's name and form, and that they do not remain soul conscious. Because of this, their status is also reduced. From kings to beggars, the status is number wise. You should also understand why this happens. You definitely become number wise, and your degrees continue to decrease. Those who were 16 celestial degrees full become 14 degrees. Your degrees gradually decrease in this way. It is good even if you have 14 degrees. Then when you go onto the path of sin, you become vicious. Your lifespan becomes short and you then continue to become Rajo and Tamoguni. As it decreases, you continue to become old. While taking body, souls continue to become old. You children have all of this knowledge in you. How you come down from being 16 celestial degrees and how you then become human beings. There are no directions from the deities. Once you have received the Father's directions, there is no need to receive directions for 21 births. These directions of God last you for 21 births, and then when it is the kingdom of Ravan, you receive the directions of Ravan. They even saw the deities going on to the path of sin. It is not like that for those of other religions. When the deities go on to the path of sin, those of other religions come down. The Father explains, children, you now have to return home. This world is old. It is in my part in the drama. You understand that I have to make the old world new again. People of the world don't know anything at all. You explain so much, but nevertheless some show very good interest, whereas others continue to give you their own opinions. When there were Lakshmi and Narayan, there were purity, peace and happiness. There was everything. Purity is the main thing. People don't know that the deities in the golden age were pure. They say that even the deities had children, but no one knows how creation takes place there with the power of yoga. They say if you remain pure for your whole life, how would you have children, etc.? You have to explain to them. By becoming pure at this time, you remain pure for 21 births. This means that we are establishing the viceless world by following Srimad. Srimad is from the Father. It is remembered that it didn't take God long to change human beings into deities. Now all of you are human beings who will then become deities. You are now establishing the deity government by following Srimad. Purity is the most important thing in this. It is souls that have to become pure. It is souls that have stone intellects. Tell them this very clearly. The Father himself established the Golden Age deity government which was called Paradise. It was the Father who changed human beings into deities. Human beings were impure, so how were they made pure from impure? He told you children, constantly remember me alone and you will become pure. Anyone you tell this to will be touched by it internally. Now, how will you become pure from impure? You definitely have to remember the Father. Break your intellects away from everyone else and connect them in yoga to the one alone, because only then will you be able to become deities from human beings. This is how you should explain to others. Whatever you have explained was absolutely accurate according to the drama. You understand this, but nevertheless you continue to receive points every day in order to explain to others. The main thing is how we can become pure from impure. The Father says, renounce all bodily religions and constantly remember me alone. Only you children know this most auspicious confluence is. You have now become Brahmins, the children of Prajapita Brahma. The Father is teaching us, how could we become deities without first becoming Brahmins? This Brahma too takes the full 84 births, and he then also has to take the number 1 birth. The Father comes and enters him. The main thing is to consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Father. By becoming body conscious, you become attached somewhere or other. Not everyone can become soul conscious. Each of you has to check yourself fully. Do I become body conscious? Do I perform sinful acts? Is my behavior unlawful? Many do make this mistake, and so they will definitely incur a lot of punishment at the end. Although you haven't reached your Karmatita stage, let me just read it again. Do I become body conscious? Do I perform sinful acts? Is my behavior unlawful? Many do make this mistake, and so they will definitely incur a lot of punishment at the end. Although you haven't reached your Karmatita stage, all sorrow is removed from those who reach their Karmatita stage. They become liberated from punishment. Just think about it. Kings are created number-wise. Surely some make less effort due to which they have to experience punishment. It is souls that experience punishment in the jail of a womb. When a soul is in a womb, he says, let me out. I will not perform sinful acts again. It is the soul that experiences punishment. It is the soul that acts and performs sinful acts. This body is of no use. The main thing is you have to consider yourselves to be souls so that you can understand that it is true, that it truly is souls that do everything. All of you souls now have to go back home. It is only now that you receive this knowledge. You will not receive this knowledge again. Someone who is soul conscious will see everyone as a brother. There is no question of the body. Once you have become soul conscious, you won't have any attachment to bodies. This is why the father says this is a very elevated stage. When a brother and sister become trapped in one another, a lot of disservice takes place. May you be soul conscious. It is this that requires effort. There are subjects in a study you can also understand I will fail in this. Because of failing, you then also become slack in other subjects. You souls are now becoming like golden vessels with the power of your intellect's yoga. If there isn't yoga, you won't have that much knowledge either. You won't then have that strength. There will be no power of yoga. This is predestined in the drama. Baba explains to you children how much you should increase your stays. You have to check, am I this soul doing anything unlawful throughout the day? If you have any such habit, you should instantly let it go. However, Maya still makes you make mistakes on the second or third day after that. Such subtle things continue all the time. All of this knowledge is incognito. What do human beings know? You tell them we do everything for ourselves and cover our own expenses. How could we do anything with others paying the expenses? This is why Baba always says it is better to die than to ask for anything. Whatever you receive easily is like milk, and whatever you have to ask for is like water. If you receive something by asking for it, they give you that out of compulsion, as though they have to sacrifice something in order to give it to you, and so that then becomes like water. If you pull something to you, that is like blood. Some cause a lot of distress. They incur that, and so that becomes like blood. There is no need to incur any debt. If you donate something and then take it back, there is the example of King Harishchandra who did that. Brackets, he kept remembering the things that he had donated. Don't do that. Keep your soul aside so that it can be useful to you. You children have to make so much effort that at the end you only have remembrance of the Father, and you also remember to spin this discus of self realization. Only then should you leave your body. Only then will you be able to become a king who is a ruler of the globe. It isn't that you will be able to remember Baba at the end and that your stage will become such at the end. No, you now have to make effort until the end and make that stage very strong. It should not be that at the end your attitude is pulled to something else. By remembering Baba, your sins will continue to be cut away. You children know that the aspect of purity requires effort. You don't have to make as much effort to study. You children have to pay attention very well to this. This is why Baba says ask yourself every day, did I perform any unlawful acts? Am I trapped in name and form? Do I go crazy on seeing someone? Do I do anything unlawful with my physical organs? You should have no love at all for an old impure body. That too is body consciousness. You have to remain free from any attraction. You have true love for only the one and have love for everyone else without being attracted. Although you have children, etc., there should not be any attraction to anyone. You know that whatever you see, it will all be destroyed, so all your love has to be removed from that. Your love should only be for the one, and you have to remain free from being attracted to anyone's name. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for dharana number 1, make your attitude very clean and pure. Do not perform any wrong or unlawful acts. Remain very, very cautious. Do not allow your intellect to attach itself anywhere. Second, have true love for the one Father. Have love for everyone just in name and remain free from being attracted. Create such a stage of soul consciousness that you have no attachment even to your body. Blessing, may you become a fortunate soul with the sanskars of self sovereignty and attain a right to a future kingdom. The sanskars of ruling yourself over a long period of time will give you a right to a future kingdom for a long period of time. If you are repeatedly influenced and do not have the sanskars of having a right, you will then stay in a kingdom of those who simply rule over themselves and not attain the fortune of a kingdom. So look at the image of your fortune in the mirror of knowledge. By practicing this over a long period of time, you can make your special cooperative workers become your companions in your kingdom and work under your control. Become their king and you will then be said to be a fortunate soul. Slogan: in order to do the service of giving sakas, let your attitude of unlimited disinterest emerge. Slogan: in order to do the service of giving sakas, let your attitude of unlimited disinterest emerge. Om Shanti.